my name's James Heller. I'm the CEO and founder at Rapify, and I stumbled upon a special individual that you see here with me on video. His name's Patrick Halgren. He's on the US Paralympic Ski team, and I think what he's doing and the journey that he's on needs to be shared. I had the unfortunate reality where I got to experience a very small glimpse into his day-to-day life this year. I was non-load bearing for about 16 weeks and I had to hop around on one leg. And while that was happening, I saw your Instagram, saw your social feed, and got a chance to start following you, and really love the path that you're on and all the hard work that you're doing leading up to the Paralympic Games.
Thank you, James. Patrick Halgren, Paralympic alpine ski racer. Been with Team USA. This will be my third season, and just super lucky. I'm originally from Tolland, Connecticut, but I've been living out in Colorado skiing for 9 years now. And yeah, had my accident back in Connecticut, where I'm originally from. I was late for work one morning. I was called in on a Saturday, and I'm a 20-year-old kind of off on summer break from college, and I wanted to work. So I get up the next morning. I grew up on dirt bikes, but I wasn't the best motorcycle street bike rider. And I couldn't start my bike, so I was already kind of just late for work. So I'm speeding, and I wasn't the best rider, like I said. And in Connecticut, nature flourishes, and I was getting scared. I was going to go off the road into the woods, and a farm field came up. And I thought, oh, I'll make it to work. I'll go into this farm field. I'll be fine. As I'm edging closer off the road, I was getting, pretty spooked that, I was fearing the worst for my life. And when I saw this farm field, I decided I'd go flying in there and I'll probably be fine, walk away, make it to work. But the owner of that farm had actually backed his tractor into a telephone pole about 2 feet off the road. So when I came screaming into this road, he had put big boulders around the bottom of that telephone pole so that he wouldn't back into it again. And I went directly into one of these boulders, and I kind of went spread eagle into the telephone pole, and where I had a severe compound fracture. I severed my femoral artery and basically bled out in that field and died not once, but 3 times. I'm absolutely blessed that an EMT showed up when he did with a defibrillator and saved my life twice in that farm field, and then once again on the way to the hospital. And I was in a coma for about a month, but yeah, I'm here to tell the tale today, and couldn't be happier that it all worked out just the way it did.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. It's wild what the human body can endure. So you didn't grow, I mean, you probably grew up skiing recreationally. From injury to professional skier, what happened in that time frame that really motivated you to do this?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because my father was actually a huge ski racer when he was a child, and he was going to be this prodigy and be this pro skier. And he was actually in a similar motorcycle accident, and he didn't lose his leg, but his ankle was so severely damaged that he had a bunch of screws, pins, and needles holding it together, and he couldn't wear a ski boot. So in like 1974, 5, he started skiing on one leg, and for about 6 years skied on one leg and was very efficient at it. And so 40 years later, when I lose my leg, my identical twin brother had dropped out of college and became a ski patroller, worked his way up, and he would volunteer with a disabled ski program. So it just kind of seems like destiny that, one, my twin brother even got back into the ski community, because we were pretty far removed from it. It's very expensive to ski. We grew up skiing a little bit recreationally, but when it became our own financial burden, we just gave up on skiing, got into high school and other sports. And so for him to drop out of college his senior year with one semester left, become a ski patroller, and then also to find out about disabled skiing, it just is almost eerie how it all worked out the way it did. And he had the idea to for me to become a one-legged skier, and then my father to teach me how to ski on one leg. Um, yeah, and that's where, I'm just so blessed that not only do I get to be a pro athlete, but I get to be a pro skier, which is, was my father's dream for all those years. And yeah, it's just eerie how it's all working out.
Yeah, the universe had a plan. And you mentioned your brother. You had an identical twin brother. If I remember correctly, you lost your brother about a year after your accident.
It was 7 years ago. It was like 5 years after my accident. We were traveling the world together. We were what is called a ski bum. We would go work at ski resorts, and we ended up meeting somebody who worked in the southern hemisphere, and we could go from Vermont to New Zealand, and we could work 2 winters and ski, almost 300 days a year. So we were doing that, and he got kind of his dream job working at a huge, kind of like the best mountaineering um, mountain in the world called Mount Cook in New Zealand. It's the most accessible terrain for training, like something for, climbing Mount Everest. And it was kind of his dream job. He was flying around in helicopters, showing people icebergs and taking them all over glaciers. So he ended up staying there that year, and he ended up buying a motorcycle. And yeah, he crashed his bike one day and passed away. And yeah, that was tough. That was worse than me losing the leg or really anything I've been through. But because we were so kind of tightly knit close together, and really were each other's support system, and made it all work together. But yeah, I get to live my dream, but also his as well, and everything's kind of for him.
I couldn't imagine losing a brother. But I mean, just listening to the your story and the path that you're on, it's pretty clear that there's, it's happening, and it's probably happening without without you're on a path that you're on, right? There's no, it's almost like it's probably not even really your choice. So talk to me about what you're doing today, and what the goal is.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's all about staying healthy. I think, I have an opportunity to be the best in the world. Not many people get to even try that, let alone I think it's possible. I think I will be there. But yeah, it's going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of time, a lot of effort. Um, Biggest name of the game is staying healthy. I'm gonna keep pushing it, and I'll be right where I need to be. And but it's I gotta health is the name of the game. I gotta stay healthy. I gotta be able to push those limits. Especially during the winter, I'm pushing those limits day in and day out. I'm trying to go as fast as I can, basically falling down a mountain on a sword. So it's yeah, health is the name of the game. Um, Throughout the season, average athlete for US ski and snowboard is like, it's like 100 grand for a season, just with equipment and training fees. And you're getting close to that line between in and out of control. And you're gonna go over that line. You have to find that line, and you got to push it. So, to be the best in the world, to be the fastest guy falling down a mountain, you got to kind of push those limits and see where you need to kind of slow down or take it easy. And you got to find that line in the sand of, safe to stand or falling off the edge, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not the best in the world, but I believe I can be. And it's going to take my full effort and a lot of my time. And I can't, I'm trying to market myself and get all these things, equipment. It's always this mad dash in summer to get the equipment you need for that winter. And if you're doing more time focusing on marketing and equipment, you're not going to be in the best shape coming into the winter. And that's kind of on that edge of, like, am I stretching myself too thin trying to do all these different things where, you support is kind of the name of the game. And I think
Sure.
that is when people conspire to help you achieve whatever it is you want to do. And what I want to do is be the best skier in the world. And I want to do it with one leg, so it's going to be tough.
When is that, when is the event that would essentially be the mark of that? Is it the US Paralympic Winter Games?
Yeah, so it's going to be March of 26, Cortina Milana, Italy. That's it. We don't get paid even for the biggest events. I'm doing 42 World Cup starts this year. That's like our upper echelon of competition is World Cup. And you don't get paid if you win those. We really get nothing. With the US ski and snowboard, they try to uphold our amateur status, keep our love of the sport, which is not an issue for me, but I could see, a lot of these guys kind of treat it like a job. And it's just, oh, we got to go to work again. I'm lucky where I actually just love to ski, and I'm still a sponge soaking up everything, trying to learn everything I can. I've been in this for, it'll be a decade this year, full time training and ski racing. But most people have been doing this for 20 plus years, and their technique is flawless, but they don't have ambition and they don't work hard in the summer, and they just don't have the talent that I have. And I'm kind of waiting for my technique to catch up to that talent, because I do sometimes have to go back to the fundamentals, and that's where I'm kind of dropping the ball, but that will come with experience. And yeah, so just really just trying to get that support, have those
Sure.
support systems, and whether it be just people thinking about me, wishing me well, or financially and getting that training that it is like going to be a dire need, and equipment. And I can pick up more time too in the southern hemisphere in summer, and that's basically going to be needed at this point. I think I'll be the best in the world, but the Paralympics is in 2 years, and that's coming fast.
For our viewers that aren't really up to speed on the different disciplines of ski racing, can you just share a little bit about like the actual category of racing that you're in, and yeah, just a little bit more about what that entails in terms of training regimen.
Right, totally. Yeah, so when it comes to the Paralympics, there's really two big events. There's snowboard cross, and then there's alpine skiing, and then there's Nordic, which is like cross country. But so that's it. There's no half pipe or big backcountry, which I would love. I would absolutely love that. It's kind of where I started. And, when I was learning how to ski, that's what I wanted to do. I want to do jumps and all that. And that's great. But I got into ski racing because, that involves speed. I was kind of, you know, maybe a blessing and a curse, but I was blessed with speed. I like to go fast, and I always have and always will. But in para alpine ski racing, there are 5 different events, and it's basically like track events where there's a different distance in between the gates, and they'll have regulations on the type of equipment you have to use. Basically, the length of the ski is different for every event, making it really difficult to make those distance in between the gates. So the
Got it.
tough thing is to make those gates, to be able to go around the gates, but also to improve your speed as you're doing that. So that's like kind of the difficulty. And it starts with slalom, giant slalom, super G, and then downhill. And it basically goes from shorter, tighter turns to bigger, longer, faster turns.
What's your favorite of the five?
It's tough because I like them all, but the short turns are really fun for me because I actually take a lot of contact. I hit the gates a lot, either in the face or in my crotch. I'm taking half of those gates at least. And in downhill, I've been clocked at 77 miles an hour. So that each event in itself is like thrilling. It's such a fun event for both of them. It kind of reminds me of when I used to play football for slalom, because I know I'm going to get hit. So it's kind of like getting ready for kickoff. And then in downhill, I know I'm going to be doing over 60 miles per hour. So that's also like just as thrilling. But yeah, so I really love all the events, and I'm going to try to be the best at all of them as well. And I think that's, yeah, why not?
For the folks that are watching, if you haven't followed Patrick, I encourage you to follow him on Instagram. I tagged him in his LinkedIn. Make sure to reach out if you're interested in supporting him on his journey. He has a GoFundMe. I'll have that linked in the comments.
Yeah.
Definitely reach out to him direct if you're interested in any sort of brand partnerships leading up to the Paralympic Games. 2 years does go by really fast, and 2 years costs a lot of money for an athlete, whether they're coming from a super wealthy family or totally solo and doing it all by themselves, which is in this case is Patrick's reality. It takes a lot. It takes a big support system to make this happen. And so I want to do what I can to help, and do what I can to connect you with brands that
Yeah.
want to be involved.